talked about it yesterday, just that chip on your shoulder. Everyone talking about a neutral AFC Championship game, not even thinking about you guys. How much did that motivate you coming into this?
You better send those refunds.
I'm from the city where they gotta play us. Fuck a coin flip, it's time to pay up. Don't cross the middle, 21 in the cut. We ain't hiding from nobody, run and tell them it's up. I'm from the city where they gotta play us. Fuck a coin flip, it's time to pay up. Don't cross the middle, 21 in the cut. We ain't hiding from nobody, run and tell them it's up. Back-to-back champs, kings of the north with it. Thinking they can hang with us, still ain't jumped out the porch with it. Long bomb to chase every Sunday, watch him go and get it. Double up on him, then we gon' double down on T. Higgins. Then throw Boyd in the mix, now you really iffy. Every Sunday showing boys how to really gritty. They try to shuffle up the game on us, but they ain't icky. Flip the coin, kick the toe, Roger to go and get it. Never know what's gonna happen when Joe drop back. He get shiesty in the pocket, I get shiesty on the track. Nobody on the team all pro, that's all cap. Most all around team in the NFL, that's all fact. Ain't came across nobody yet that seem like they can hang with us. They said we couldn't be Buffalo, but see how we call they bluff. Underdogs every week, they keep on trying to label us. Put your money on us, even if Vegas don't favor us. No matter what, we really came up, now it's hard to fail. I dare you come across that middle, Von gon' ring your bell. I know we under they skin, them boys built frail. Eli Apple out there chirping like a next tail. You don't want Salmon Trey to come off them ends. Rita clogging up the middle like a big body Benz. Right behind them Logan and Pratt, the turnover twins. Jesse Bates in the backfield just to clean up the loose ends. We just drafted Cam and drafted Hill. Instant gratification every time that they on the field. We can't go back to what we was, cause that's the loser way. It's been hard to throw on us since we picked up a Woozy. It's like win after win, feel like we could really do it. Zach Taylor doing his thing for the city, I give it to him. And I bet Samazi will find a hole if you give it to him. Hayden Hurst don't need a hole, he just plan on running through him. Just hand it off to 28 and let him do the dash. Getting hit by BJ Hill probably feel like a car crash. Every week it seem like Lou digging deeper in his bag. And if the game on the line, all my favorite money match. I'm from the city where they gotta play us. Fuck a coin flip, it's time to pay up. Don't cross the middle, 21 in the cut. And we ain't hiding from nobody, run and tell them it's up. I'm from the city where they gotta play us. Fuck a coin flip, it's time to pay up. Don't cross the middle, 21 in the cut. And we ain't hiding from nobody, run and tell them it's up.
What do we say, Dolph?
That's right, they gotta play us, and after this draft, I'm very, very excited. What's up, y'all? Welcome to Bengals Talk with Strawberry Ice. I'm your host, the Iceman, Jeff Turnipole, and as always, I bring you sports from a West Side point of view right here in the great city of Cincinnati, Ohio, home of the back-to-back AFC North champion Cincinnati Bengals. Now, do me a favor, if you're a fan of the show, hit that like and subscribe button, smash that thumbs up. You guys are awesome. I'm up to 2,197 subscribers, had a huge jump after 20 hours, Dale said, of draft coverage between my channel and Bengals and Brewers and everybody else who jumped on. So I appreciate every single one of you guys who jumped on to help out with the stream and everybody in the comments and everything. It was awesome. Now, like I said, we're YouTube here, 2,197 shows. And if you're watching Facebook or Twitter and you have yet to subscribe to my channel, why not? Please do so. Please go to the YouTube channel, Bengals Talk with Strawberry Ice. Hit the subscription, hit the bell for notification. Every time I go live, you'll be notified. Also, exclusively in the YouTube chat crew, we're doing super chats, which you got a lot of those this past weekend. I appreciate that. So if you want to support the show or you got a question you want to ask Trags, which Trags is supposed to be joining us here. He's not in the waiting room yet. I'm hoping he will join, but he's been pretty busy. But if you got a question for him or anything like that, give me a super chat. I would greatly appreciate it. And as always, I'm coming to you from this glorious place down here at the Ice Cave. The Ice Cave is brought to you by T Properties. T Properties, quality housing for quality people. Check out the website at www.tpropertiesllc.com for all your rental property management needs and your rental needs. And you know it. I wear it every day. Jackpot Joey. We got the gear. We got the beer. The gear is at jackpotjoey9.com. We got hats, hoodies, banners, flags, all kinds of stuff. Check it out there. All portions of the proceeds go to the Joe Burrow Foundation and Joe Burrow Hunger Really Fun. What's up to everybody in the chat? You guys are blowing it up already. I love it, Stranger. You were first. My condolences, Stranger. We did not get Coots, but I think we got a pretty good draft there. We got an A- from William. We got an A from Foxy. Augie said solid draft. So I appreciate every single one of you guys. And like I said, I thank you guys for joining us for 20 hours of draft coverage. So I'm a little frazzled right now. But anyway, let's get to my co-host for today. He's a big savage, Greg Luther. What's up, Greg?
Nothing much, man. How we doing this fine day?
Good, man. Just trying to recover from the weekend. But I'm excited because one of my favorite beat reporters, beat writers, is on the show. Like I said, he's always trying to come on this weekend, which I understand. He's a bit busy. made covering the Bengals, but he got a lot of cool interviews today. He had a great article that came out. I suggest you guys go read it. He's none other than Trags.
Love the new intro.
All right. I thought you liked that. I knew you wanted to do it for the last time you were on here. So what's going on, Trags? You been busy?
Just a little bit. See all of this?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what I've been doing.
That's a lot.
So lot to go over.
Yes, sir.
And I like what the Bengals did this weekend.
Yep.
Nothing spectacular, but as I wrote, I think they did what a lot of championship-driven organizations do with the draft, and that is they supplement a roster that they already think is very good, very competitive in terms of getting to and winning the Super Bowl, and they added to it. And I think that's what the Bengals achieved this weekend, first and foremost.
Exactly. So we got a lot of A's, a lot of B minuses. I would say I'm a solid A to A minus. The only reason we didn't get a tight end, and I just thought we would somewhere because there's so many. But I really think they really took this draft BPA, and it's really like you said, they addressed a lot of stuff to make the team better this year. We got better on defense by a lot. I think our pass rush is going to be better. Our secondary, I think, is going to be better. Who was the surprise one for you, Trags, that they drafted that you didn't think would be there, or surprised they drafted him?
Well, let me get my list out and I'll tell you.
Okay.
Should have been more prepared than I was.
Right.
Sorry
Okay.
about that.
All good.
I would say that the biggest surprise for me in terms of those players that they took probably would have been the punter in the sixth round.
Okay.
Simply because they drafted a punter. And if you draft a punter, my feeling is different teams have different views on this. If you draft a punter, you're expecting him to make the roster.
Right.
I very much believe that. And I guess that is the sign from Darren Simmons that, yes, there's going to be a competition. And Drew Chrisman this morning in the locker room, classy as he always has been, told us that Darren Simmons gave him the heads up. We're going to probably bring in a punter. There's going to be a competition for the third time in your career, and you're going to have to go out and win it. Nothing will be handed to you. This is not an Evan McPherson type of situation.
Right.
And, the Bengals are looking to improve every spot on the roster that they can. And so drafting a punter is one that really raised my eyebrows. I'd say that taking Andre Yoshivas, the receiver, out of, and I got
Greg's
it right.
very excited about this one.
Yeah.
He should be. I think this is tremendous upside, and I did not see them taking two receivers on the third day. And, certainly I saw them taking at least one receiver, but I figured they may go the undrafted free agent route, which they are going to do anyway,
Right.
And just leave it at that. But no, Andre Yoshivas is 6'3". He has got heptathlon speed. He's a very fast receiver for his size. And it's kind of a fascinating pick to me, somebody who can really go up, battle for balls. He's a bit of a body catcher, doesn't use his hands as much as I think scouts would have liked to have seen on film, but that doesn't mean he can't. That certainly is. Troy Walters pointed out to us on Saturday. That's certainly something that can be taught, that can be developed. So I don't think that's a huge concern. But that was another pick that kind of surprised me as well.
All right, Greg, go ahead. I know you're dying to talk about your boy. Go ahead.
Mike, I got a list here. My best friends list. Strawberry was on there. You just moved to the top of my best friends list and all that. I mean, in my opinion, I was going to ask you who the steal of the draft was, and this is my answer right here. I mean, you look at this guy, 6'3", ran a 43 something. We don't have to question his smarts. We don't have to question if he's smart or not. I think that's already answered. But what interests me the most is when Troy Walters talked about when he came in for a visit, he was asking Troy Walters the questions. I mean, this kid's a developmental guy, but what better place than coming here where he's not going to be told to do anything immediately? I mean, this could be the steal of the draft.
Well, I think there is the potential for that to be the case. I think the Bengals would like him to come in and win a position on the 53-man roster, certainly. And this is not a guy that is going to sneak through and onto the practice squad. They're going to have to keep him, I would think. And I don't think they don't have a problem with that whatsoever. So if he wins a spot on the 53-man roster, then what it becomes, as I bring out my depth chart, and you take a look at the wide receiver position behind Jamar, Tyler, and T, you look at Trenton Irwin, Stanley Morgan, and Trent Taylor. Whose job is he going to take there?
Yes.
You could say Trenton Irwin would be a candidate that he looks to take his job from. Talk about Charlie Jones. And Charlie Jones is somebody.
Chuck Sizzle.
Yeah. Chuck Sizzle is somebody that could win a spot just as a pure returner, as a weapon, as Darren Simmons call him. He, I know Jay Morrison of The Athletic said, is this a fear of God kind of guy? That's what the phrase that Darren Simmons was using earlier in the offseason. We are looking for a fear. Asked him, well, could Charlie Jones be a fear of God returner? And he said, well, he's got the potential. He is certainly approaching that level from what we've seen on film. He was the 2021 returner of the year in the Big Ten at Iowa before transferring over to Purdue, where he was given more of an opportunity to prove himself as a receiver. He's done both. And certainly if he's done both at the Big Ten level, which is quickly becoming a passing conference, believe it or not, then I think the Bengals believe, well, if he can do it in the Big Ten, he certainly has the potential to do it with the Bengals. So I like both of the receiver picks. They're very, very interesting. And another thing, I have to give a shout out to Dane Brugler of The Athletic.
The Beast.
And the Beast. And I have the Beast in front of me. What's interesting about the Bengals' two picks to me, two wide receiver picks, 21 is Charlie Jones, 22 is Andre Iosivas. And, for them to Iosivas and Charlie Jones to be back-to-back, it was interesting to me. I'll just put it that way.
And one thing I'll give this question up. And this was shocking to me, was this, I won't say shocking, but I was surprised. Safety. I wasn't really surprised. I didn't really think they'd take a safety, but Robert Harris's battle pick will push Scott and will add special teams depth. And taking Turner at 60 will be a steal, getting to learn from players who have players we have in house. Now, how were you as surprised as I was with Battle? Now, I love the pick. I mean, he checks off all the boards, everything that Bengals Zach Taylor regime like. Team captain, starter, championship team. All the stuff that they like. Were you surprised that they took Battle?
No, not in the way the Bengals have been developing their roster in the last couple of years. This is the second straight year they have used their top three picks on defense. And Jordan Battle is somebody that they feel can come in and play right away, at least in a certain role on defense. But more than that, he can contribute on special teams. And Darren Simmons always factors into the draft, because I think certainly Zach Taylor and Duke Tobin say, what do we need to really complement that third unit? What do we need to bring in guys that can make plays, not just return kicks? Certainly that is a big part of it. Not certainly be able to punt the ball and kick the ball like your punter and Evan McPherson, the kicker, but guys who can show speed on the outside, who can close, who can tackle. Jordan Battle fits that description.
Exactly. Now, Tom's going to bring up the offensive line here. He said, I love the draft, but many are upset we didn't get depth in the interior line. Do you agree they are thin there? Great coverage, Mike.
Well, I appreciate that very much. Thank you. I wasn't that surprised that they didn't use those picks. Like the Patriots, you saw what they did. I think they took 3 interior offensive linemen, and they are a team that desperately needs tackles, at least one tackle, a left tackle. And so the Bengals, the reason they didn't go with the interior offensive line is value. When teams put together their big boards and their draft boards, it's not just drafting to need. It's drafting a player that fits the value that they see on the big board. And I think fans sometimes forget that. I mean, the savvy fan now in this day and age of the internet and whatnot, a lot of fans are savvy to that.
Well, if you pay attention to Bengals Talking Strawberry, so you got Mike on, Trags all the time, you would understand this stuff, right?
Exactly.
Or Jungle Roar podcast. Got to put that one out there too.
Yes. By the way, we're dropping a new Jungle Roar podcast tomorrow, Tuesday. So be on the lookout for that.
Who you got on?
I won't. I'm going to tease it, and I'm just going to say somebody you're very familiar with.
Oh,
so on the beat. I don't want to get hopes up too high, but it's somebody you all know and love.
It's me, right? It's me. You're having me on.
It's me.
You're down the road, Greg, Jeff, down the road.
All right.
Anyway.
There we go.
What were you saying? Oh, interior offensive line.
Interior offensive
when
line,
you take a look at the depth chart right now, and you see Cordell Volson, Ted Karras, and Alex Kappa. All of those guys come back healthy. The Bengals are in great shape because behind them you have Max Sharping, Trey Hill, and Adeniji, along with Ben Brown. Don't sleep on Ben Brown. He is somebody that showed a lot of progress in the developmental stage last year with the Bengals on the practice squad. He is somebody that I think could come in and certainly battle for a backup spot on the Bengals interior line. I think they feel very confident there that they're going to have enough bodies, whereas, certainly they could add somebody, a undrafted free agent, and those names will be coming out. Well, they have already come out, but Bengals don't really announce them officially until they get them in for physicals and sign on the dotted line. But look for at least one or two interior offensive linemen in terms of undrafted free agents, as well as a tight end and a running back.
Now, Mike here says, I think the undrafted O-lineman from Washington has a shot to make the team. I don't know who he's talking about. I've been busy all day. Do you know which one he's talking about?
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I don't, but
Greg?
I do have go ahead. I think I know who he's talking about. Jackson Kirkland.
I don't know the name, but I know he was like, some people had him as a draftable player and all that, but I know who he's talking about. I don't know the guy's name and all. But
Jackson.
I believe his name was Jack. Yes.
Jackson Kirkland. He is a sixth-year senior, and I'll bring up his stats here in a moment.
By the way, I agree with Tom. Mike is the hardest worker. Make sure you guys subscribe and follow him.
Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
So the thing about Kirkland, besides the fact that he is a 6-year player in college, and the Bengals like that part of the experience factor. Same with DJ Ivey, who they took in the 7th round out of Miami as a cornerback. Kirkland started all 46 games he appeared in, with the Huskies starting with 11 games in 2019. He is somebody, of course, the Bengals would like because he switched to offensive tackle as the pandemic season ended in 2020. Had a severe ankle injury limiting his play in 2021. He missed 2 games in 2021. But he is certainly somebody that fits the bill in terms of being able to play a lot of positions along the offensive line. So that's what I know about Jackson Kirkland.
Now, one thing I will say about, and you kind of touched on it too with Battle and the wide receivers and stuff, a lot of this draft, they did it to improve the team now, like improve our defense. We got to get the quarterback on the ground. We had to improve our special teams. Where Jay Morrison, we had him on Bengals and Brewers earlier at 3:30 that he quoted the same thing you said. They wanted somebody to put the fear of God in them and punt returner or kick returner. And I think we would possibly have that now. That was a lot of what this draft was. It seemed like to me was more to go get the quarterback, improve the secondary, and improve the special teams. And I think that's what they pretty much did with this draft.
Okay, here's the number one thing they did. They increased the team speed, which was already very good.
Yeah.
They know, the Bengals are very aware that you're going to need 4-2, 4-3, 4-4 burners in the secondary to keep up with the passing game in the National Football League. One or two of those guys in the secondary is not going to cut it anymore. And the Bengals add to that. Obviously, when you take a guy like DJ Turner and somebody like Jordan Battle, those are guys that are going to be able to fit the bill in that regard. Love the speed in the Bengals secondary. Don't forget about Cam Taylor-Britt. I think as a rookie, Cam Taylor-Britt showed me a lot of mettle in terms of being able to tackle, close on space when he, as a rookie, oftentimes got beat on a wide receiver route. He was able to close the gap quickly and, limit a play that could have beaten him for 20 yards or 25 yards and limit it to a 6 or 7 yard gain, which is a big deal when you're talking about, trying to contain passing games in the National Football League.
Yeah, I remember him chasing down Derrick Henry. I know in his first game he started. Now he knocked the ball out. Now they recovered it in the end zone, but still that pure speed right there to chase down Henry, that right there shows you. Yeah, that shows you what kind of speed he's got. We just added on top of that. Now, I think there's going to be a big battle with no pun intended between Battle and Scott for that starting safety position, because I don't know if it's definitely set in stone that Scott is our starting safety right now. I mean, and he also played special teams too, so they could be versatile, and one could be special teams or however they want to do it. I mean, what's your thought on this? The safety position, is it going to be a battle, or is it Scott's to lose?
That's a great question. I don't think we're going to really know that until training camp comes around, because by that time we will have had OTAs. Mm-hmm. And in OTAs, I think the coaching staff starts to get a really good idea of which players are picking up the system intellectually and schematically, and which players are a little bit further behind. Doesn't mean that those players further behind can't make up ground. But if you can pick up the scheme and really understand what the coaches are asking for in different situations, then that puts you a step ahead heading into training camp. And I think by that time, we'll have a good idea if Nick Scott has, gotten up to speed quicker than a rookie coming out of Alabama, if Nick Scott is ahead in that race. But I think that's a great storyline to watch. It's certainly a good problem that the Bengals want to have. This is not a problem that the Bengals, shy away from. This is something they want to put those competitive battles into place in training camp to make sure that these guys are, quote unquote, battle tested heading into the season. I think that's a great characteristic and trait to bring out in these players before the season begins.
Exactly. What do you got, Greg?
Mike, so obviously when I was at Paycor Stadium for the draft party, I think everybody in that place thought it was going to be Michael Mayer with the pick and all that.
Yeah, a lot of people did, including myself at one point.
Well, the thing of it is, I think also it was mainly because he was a local kid and we needed a tight end. I guess the point where I'm going with this is we didn't draft a tight end. Do you see us adding a tight end at some point in the future? Like, for example, June 1st cuts, you look at the Packers, they got like 6 or 7 tight ends on that roster, and they got to make a bunch, and teams have to make a bunch of cuts, and especially with Aaron Rodgers due to make a lot of money. Could you see a team like the Jets cut one of their tight ends and the Bengals could sign that person?
That could happen, but I also kind of read into the room that the Bengals like what they have already. Certainly they would love to have a pass receiving tight end like they had in Hayden Hurst, like they had in CJ Uzomah during the 2021 season. But that, somewhere there's got to be some give on your roster building somewhere. And, at this point, the Bengals are like what they have in Irv Smith Jr. That's why they signed him as a free agent. They brought Drew Sample back. And if you take a look at their depth chart at the tight end position, they have Devin Asiasi, who don't sleep on him, because reading between the lines, whenever they bring up whenever Brian Callahan brings up Devin Asiasi, he subtly says he's done a lot in the league and he's, did a lot in New England in his limited time there. Right. And they really like what he brings to the table, both as primarily as a blocking tight end. And obviously Drew Sample's coming off surgery, but they love Drew Sample. When he was in there, he could do a lot of things that did not involve catching the ball. And that means he can really, when he's asked to block, he doesn't miss his assignments. And that's a big deal along the offensive line. A unit that appears to be turning into a strength of the Bengals, but we still have to see whether or not they have the depth to support that strength. But I think the Bengals blocking schemes are going to get more complex this year. And I think the Bengals are going to be able to do more with their offensive line that they weren't able to do in the past. And I also want to bring this up. I do think Jackson Carman has matured. I think the fact that he is paying more attention to not just, as he told me this morning, not just losing weight. He does not so much. He's lost maybe 5 to
He's spelt.
He's
spelt.
Yeah.
Spell. It's the word I use, and I'm sticking with it. He's lost 5 to 8 pounds, but that's not what he was looking to do.
Right,
He was looking to tone his body to get it, as he put it, more game ready and more game conditioned. So he's taken up yoga. He's taken up gymnastics, which he told us, which kind of raised my eyebrows.
Gotta be flipping around.
Yeah.
And he's taken up some MMA type of exercise activities and training. And he struck me this morning as somebody who is, I understand that I really need to get my body to the next level if I'm going to be a starting offensive tackle in the National Football League. And let's face it, you are not going to have Jackson Carman, Jonah Williams, and La'el Collins all on the roster to begin the season. I just don't see that as a viable situation financially for the Bengals salary cap. So one of those 3 players is not going to be there. And really one of the 2, Collins or Williams, is not going to be there. I just don't see that as a possibility. So with both Williams and Collins coming off surgeries, Jackson Carman is your projected starting right tackle. And certainly Zach Taylor acknowledged that after the draft on Saturday evening. He said, look, at first it's going to be, or how did he put it? He said that Jackson Carman is going to have the first opportunity to win that job at right tackle. So, we went through this last year at left guard with Jackson Carman, and it did not start well.
No.
It just did not go well. He wasn't ready to go from the jump. And Cordell Volson in that preseason game against the Giants came in and won the job, and he didn't let go. But Jackson Carman late in the season and in the postseason, I think won over the Bengals coaching staff. Like, this guy finally gets it. He has some really good reps against superior competition. And the Bengals in the AFC Championship game got beat, obviously, and it's well documented by the Kansas City pass rush, but it wasn't Jackson Carman.
Right.
It was the left
side.
side or other side of the offensive line that got really burned. And that is something I think the Bengals went out and addressed. But I think the Bengals like the career path that Jackson Carman is on right now. And right now it is his to win at right tackle.
Now, it seems like the light bulb, finally went off. And this is one thing that I said a lot during the draft, because everybody kept asking while we're doing our draft coverage, why are they still hang on to Jonah Williams? And for me, what I've said is now Jackson Carman, and Zach said it in this press conference, that I think they project Jackson Carman as their future, maybe present right tackle. But right now, for me, you're paying Jonah $12 million. If he's still on the team, he's still going to be the Bengals starting right tackle.
Well, that's correct. And I had this conversation with another scribe this afternoon. I had exactly that conversation. But at this point, I don't think you can count on either Jonah Williams or La'el Collins being ready to start the season.
Really? You think Jonah's that far back with his knee surgery?
I think the fact that Zach Taylor said Saturday night that coming off that surgery, that puts Jackson Carman, that gives him the first opportunity at the job, is maybe a hint in that direction. Okay. I think they want to make sure, because this has been, obviously in last season, it was a recurring problem with Jonah Williams. They want to make sure that kneecap surgery to stabilize it and whatnot is a full go. Right. And there's no reason to rush him. Now, the cynics, the jaded people out there, the fans might say, well, that's because they're waiting on that trade partner to come through. And that may be the case. They may be waiting on that right opportunity in training camp where, a tackle or two goes down in training camp, or the Patriots are still looking for a tackle and nobody has come across their board yet in the offseason, that perhaps they pick up the phone and call Duke Tobin and say, Hey, is Jonah Williams still available?
So reading the tea leaves you're putting out here, it sounds like as of right now, the Bengals might be leaning toward Jax Carmen starting, Cody Ford and Adeniji being the backups, and Le'el and Jonah possibly being gone. Is that kind of what you're maybe hitting
one
at,
one of those.
So you think one of them will be here, the other one will be gone?
Possibly, yeah. And look, we don't know whether or not the Bengals are going to possibly down the road look to do either a restructure or injury buyout settlement of Le'el Collins. That is a possibility. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I am saying that possibility exists. There are some uncertainties with regard to this roster as we head into the summer. The right tackle, obviously the running back situation, to me is still very, very uncertain.
Now, I'm glad you brought the running back. That was the next question I was going to bring up. Now they drafted Brown, which again I think it's another steal. I think he was more of rated as a third to fourth round pick. We got him in, I think, fifth or sixth. I can't remember right now off the top of my head.
Right.
But he is. I'm not upset with the pick. I think it's a really good pick. But him and Mixon are kind of the same running back. So does this mean that in your opinion, they're going to move on from Mixon or restructure Mixon, or are we just going to keep him and pay him the money he's owed this year?
I do not think they are keeping him and paying him the money he's owed this year. That is the one scenario I find almost inconceivable, based on the running back role in this offense, which has not been it's not been a $12.8 million value in this offense, right? I mean, I think anybody who's watched the Bengals over the last 2 seasons would agree with that. Now, can Joe Mixon provide value to the Bengals at a much lower number? Yes, I think that is possible. And if the Bengals are comfortable with all of his off the field legal issues resolving themselves, and they are comfortable with him on the roster, then I think he's your starting running back, like Zach Taylor said, because I don't think you want to put in a rookie running back into that position. The other guy, do not sleep on Travion Williams.
That's where I was going. My next thing. Yep.
He is somebody they have always liked as a running back, low center of gravity, downhill runner. They love the way he runs, and he doesn't cost them a lot of money.
Right.
If the Joe Mixon situation resolves with him not being on the roster, which is a possibility, then you have Travion Williams, you have Chase Brown, you have Chris Evans, and you're probably going to have an undrafted rookie free agent make the roster as a running back, or possibly an undrafted rookie free agent make your practice squad, because that's what happens with a lot of these undrafted free agents. If that happens, then that fourth running back could be on the practice squad, and the Bengals, I think, could live with that, frankly, and go forward thinking that they've addressed their offensive line and keeping Joe Burrow upright. Look, that's the number one issue with the offense, right? You can talk all you want about the running back, you can talk all you want about the tight end, a pass receiving tight end. If Joe Burrow is not upright and doesn't have time to throw the ball downfield accurately, then everything else, it's a moot point. And I'll think about this one play, the interception to T. Higgins in the AFC Championship, ball intended for T. Higgins, and was picked off. If Joe Burrow has a half a second more to throw that ball and his hand doesn't get hit, and the ball leads to T. Higgins the way it really was intended to, we're having a different discussion.
Yes,
exactly.
And it's the second time in the last 2 seasons that the season has ended on Joe Burrow needing a half second to a second more to complete a season-altering play. Quentin Spain feeds Aaron Donald in towards the center, where he had blocking leverage to help with Aaron Donald, instead of to the outside where he got beat on his left shoulder cleanly like that. Then Joe Burrow probably throws downfield at Jamar Chase, wide open, touchdown, Bengals win the Super Bowl. If Joe Burrow has, another half a tick, maybe a full second to throw downfield to T. Higgins, at the worst, if the ball's not intercepted, and the Bengals continue on that drive at the end of the game with the game tie.
Yeah.
So, or in the best case, he completes the pass. The Bengals go in for go-ahead score, and they win that game. So,
Exactly.
just think about those two plays for a minute, and it's all about the offensive line. That's why you've seen the Bengals address aggressively the offensive line the way they have.
Exactly. Greg, I know you got to go, man, so I'm going to let you go.
Hey, Mike, thank you so much for taking the time. Strawberry, take care of yourself. You guys all take care.
See you, Greg.
All right, Greg.
Take
Be
care.
good.
He's got his show at 7:00 tonight, so he's got to go and eat some dinner. So how much more time you got? I don't want to keep you any longer.
I've got to go in a couple more minutes.
Okay,
bud.
all right. Well, I'll keep you. I'll have one more question here. All right, one thing I did want to ask, because you're talking about the tight ends here.
Yeah.
And Wilcox, he's still out there. Do you see him as a
He
possibility?
is still out there.
So-
He is also a possibility.
Because
Yes.
if they sign him, then they basically had the same tight end room they had last year. You switch out Hurst for Irv Smith. That's the same thing.
Essentially, yeah. And the Bengals would be happy with that.
Right.
That's why when people were saying, and I'm included in that list of people, like, oh, they've got to go out. They can, if they want to, address the tight end position, because the tight end position in this draft was considered relatively deep, and they could have made an impact with somebody like Dalton Kincaid instead of having him go to the Buffalo Bills.
Right.
And I just think, you take a look, even Darnell Washington, I thought was a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
But when Darnell Washington didn't come off the board to the Bengals, I knew they were direction. And I got to tell you, in looking back at the way they handled the top of the draft,
Mhm.
I love the value that they got with those 3 picks.
Right.
It's not necessarily the need coming into the draft. Bengals wanted, a lot of people wanted them to draft a corner. They did that in DJ Turner. He certainly has speed. But I didn't think a lot of people thought they were going to draft a safety as high as they did, and they did.
I didn't.
They got another edge rusher. And you have to understand something here, Strawberry, and that is, in this game, in this National Football League, you need 2 things on defense. You need edge rushers, and you need speed on the corner. If you don't have those 2, you will get exposed and you will give up big plays. And the reason the Bengals were able to hold every single team they played, with the exception of Tom Brady in garbage time,
Right.
in the Tampa Bay game, under 300 yards, was because they had edge rushers and they had corner speed. Now, they need to improve their sack total numbers. No question about that. They had, I think, the 4th or 5th fewest sacks with 30.
I saw something like that on NFL this morning.
They had 30 sacks this year. I mean, this past season.
Right.
That number has to improve. Even Lou Anarumo, who said that the defense was terrific in terms of quarterback rating, and Lou's absolutely right. It was. But the completion percentage was the lowest of any NFL defense in football. So that's great. But they do have to get more production out of their edge rushers. They have to get to the quarterback a few more times. But they were able to hold teams under 300 yards and hold down the big play. And that is probably, in this NFL, probably the number one thing you can do on defense.
Yeah, and I think they improved in that. So, like I said, after sleeping on the draft and everything, like I said, I'm giving it a solid A to an A-. What was, before I let you go here, what is your draft grade for the Bengals?
I hate grades. I really do. But I would give the Bengals a B+.
Okay.
And I think B+ in any draft. If you put together a number of B+ drafts, you're going to, you have the talent around it. When you're adding B+ level talent to an already Super Bowl caliber roster, you're having a good draft. And I think that's the way the Bengals approached it. And I think they did very, very well.
Exactly. All right, Mike, I appreciate you. Tell everybody about your articles you got coming out, your podcast, because you have a special guest tomorrow that you won't tell me about. But what? But plug your stuff before I let you go.
All right. Jungle Roar Pod is my podcast page on YouTube. Jungle Roar Pod, all one word. Just type in youtube.com/Jungle Roar Pod. You can also follow me on Twitter at Trags, TRAGS, and on CLNS Media. this week. Had a chance to, as I said before, talk to Jackson Carman, in addition to Dax Hill, Drew Chrisman on the punting battle. We also talked to DJ Reader, who is just pure gold. One of the very best guys in the locker room to talk to. He is going to win an NFL Good Guy Award. He is just that good. He ironically lockers right next to another guy like that, and that's Sam Hubbard. So we had a lot of people and we talked to Joseph Asai. So I'll be writing about all of those names this week on clnsmedia.com.
And you have those interviews up on your YouTube page too? Are they?
They are all up on the YouTube page as we speak. So head on over there and consume them.
Can I ask you one real quick thing before I let you go?
No, you may not.
All right. Joseph Osai. He found he tore his pec sometime this year or past year. He thinks he's going to be back by the time training camp comes around.
Yes.
What are your thoughts? Is that just him blowing smoke, or what have you heard?
I think he's going to be ready. He was talking very confidently today and asked how offseason's going along. He says, it's great. I'll be ready.
Awesome.
So
awesome.
I would take his word for that, that he feels like he's going to be ready. He's been training every single day.
He made a step, man. He started playing that ball in that Kansas City game.
Well, I'll tell you, aside from the what happened at the end of the game, he was playing very well. I'm glad you brought that up, Ice. They need Joseph Asai. If they have Joseph Asai, Miles Murphy to go with Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard, and they all stay healthy, that's a big part of it.
Yep.
And stay on the field. Bengals are going to have the ability to get to the quarterback, and Lou Anarumo is going to love the options that he has in terms of pass rushing.
Exactly. All right, Mike, I appreciate you as always. Make sure everybody go follow him, go watch his YouTube channel and everything. He does a great job. I appreciate you as always, Trags, and let's do this again sometime.
Iceman, be good.
See ya. All right, guys. Like I said, seriously, go follow Trags. He's one of the best guys on the beat, following the Bengals. He's got all the videos up there from the interviews he does on his channel, Jungle Roar Podcast. He does a great job with his articles, so make sure you follow on Twitter and make sure you guys are checking his articles out. But he's a really good dude. Yes, I know. I'm going to Bucketheads. Son of Ice, just calm down. Let's get the Facebook groups that let me live stream. And I appreciate every single one of them. They are Houday Nation, Houday Legion, Bearcat Ruckus, Radical Reds, the Ohio State Bucknuts of the Ice Bar. And then you can follow me on all my social media platforms, all under Strawberry Ice. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Twitter handle is at Jeff A. Trinipole. TikTok is at Iceman90. I should be pulling a sign off later on tonight, putting on the podcast. If I don't, go check out on YouTube. For the podcast on BPod, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Google, Stitcher Play, pretty much wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you rate, like, and review. YouTubers, we're at 2,197 subscribers. As always, I appreciate every single one of you guys. I appreciate you guys, like I said, stick around for us for all 20 hours. Literally, I cannot believe we did 20 hours, but it felt like it. I didn't feel like it. It was fun. But 20 hours of draft coverage this past weekend between my channel and Bengals and Brews. Go check out Bengals and Brews. Earlier today, they had Jay Morrison on there. They're going to have Dan Horde on tomorrow at 3:30. I don't think I'm going to be on there. I think it's going to be Dale and Houday Joe. We're interviewing that. Then tomorrow, I've got one of the Bengals legends. Reggie Williams is going to be on, former commissioner for the Bengals, commissioner, I'll try this again, council member for Cincinnati. Also played on both the first two Super Bowls. So he's a great guy. Worked for the NFL. He's down in Orlando. I'm very excited to have him on the show tomorrow. So make sure you like. Chandler's being silly. Yeah, we're going to Bucketheads. Nobody wants my autographs. You're a dork. Anyway, you guys have a wonderful evening. Check out Bengals and Brews tomorrow. Check out me at 5:30. Hopefully, I'll be getting my kitchen done here soon. Anyway, that's just sports, baby. See ya!
Talked about it yesterday, just that chip on your shoulder. Everyone talking about a neutral AFC Championship game, not even thinking about you guys. How much did that motivate you coming into this?
You better send those refunds. I'm from the city where they gotta play us. Fuck a coin flip, it's time to pay up. Don't cross the middle, 21 in the cut. We ain't hiding from nobody, run and tell them it's up. I'm from the city where they gotta play us. Fuck a coin flip, it's time to pay up. Don't cross the middle, 21 in the cut. We ain't hiding from nobody, run and tell them it's up. Back-to-back champs, kings of the north with it. Thinking they can hang with us, still ain't jumped out the porch with it. Long bomb to chase every Sunday, watch him go and get it. Double up on him, then we gon' double down on T. Higgins. Then throw Boyd in the mix, now you really iffy. Every Sunday showing boys how to really gritty. They try to shuffle up the game on us, but they ain't icky. Flip the coin, kick the toe right to the go and get it. Never know what's gonna happen when Joe drop back. He get shiesty in the pocket, I get shiesty on the track. Nobody on the team all pro, that's all cap. Most all around team in the NFL, that's all fact. Ain't came across nobody yet that seem like they can hang with us. They said we couldn't be Buffalo, but see how we call they bluff. Underdogs every week, they keep on trying to label us. Put your money on us, even if Vegas don't favor us. No matter what, we really came up, now it's hard to fail. I dare you come across that middle, Von gon' ring your bell. I know we under they skin, them boys built frail. Eli Apple out there chirping like a next tail. You don't want Salmon Trey to come off them ends. Rita clogging up the middle like a big body Benz. Right behind them Logan and Pratt, the turnover twins. Jesse Bates in the backfield just to clean up the loose ends. We just drafted Cam and drafted Hill. Instant gratification every time that they on the field. We can't go back to what we was, cause that's the loser way. It's been hard to throw on us since we picked up a Woozier. It's like win after win, feel like we could really do it. Zach Taylor doing his thing for the city, I give it to him. And I bet Samaji will find a hole if you give it to him. Hayden Hurst don't need a hole, he just plan on running through him. Just hand it off to 28 and let him do the dash. Getting hit by BJ Hill probably feel like a car crash. Every week it seem like Lou digging deeper in his bag. And if the game on the line, all my favorite money match. I'm from the city where they gotta play us. Fuck a coin flip, it's time to pay up. Don't cross the middle, 21 in the cut. And we ain't hiding from nobody, run and tell them it's up. I'm from the city where they gotta play us. Fuck a coin flip, it's time to pay up. Don't cross the middle, 21 in the cut. And we ain't hiding from nobody, run and tell them it's up.